And what I would say is that, like, okay, look, if I have laws of nature, which most of us refer to as the standard model, and as I mentioned, the standard model stands up and it actually lives within sort of these tiny units of space and energy that we think of as either waves or particles, strings. You can almost brush all of those into the sort of the same, like, whatever the unit of reality might be, like it's close enough. So my epistemology is that, well, for this scientific knowledge and this theory to be explanatory, if I'm describing a region of space, an aspect of our reality or universe that contains these laws standing up and doing something, then science does have something to say about that. If it's even hypothetically conceivable, I don't know why or which laws I can apply in another region of space. Nothing is standing up. Then I'm not talking about the same universe. And so this is, it might sound too limited for some people. It might sound too limited for some people. It might sound really arduous to try and build a complete description of the world. But that's sort of systemic thinking to me personally, my interpersonal thing. Like, that's so freeing. It's so energizing. Nothing else needs to be said about that. That's part of like who I am.
Okay. And so now I understand how deeply personal this is to you, but I want to push back on it, because what you're talking about is laws taking up space. I mean, I know you were speaking metaphorically, but obviously laws are conceptual, laws are propositional. Laws are by definition not made of physical matter and energy. And so a law can't take up space. We can't observe. And specifically, I did ask you about pre-scientific commitments like uniformity in nature, like objective truth, like principles of mathematics. These are conceptual truths that are propositional in nature. Concepts only exist in a mind. These aren't made of matter and energy. You can't give me a bucket of uniformity in nature or something like that, to be silly about it. But I say all this to say, your love of science, your love of being able to observe these patterns and come to conclusions is standing on an immaterial, non-physical foundation that you are denying by your atheism.
So I'll reject this. And the reason I do so, and you can tell me why I'm wrong or I'm not being philosophical enough. I always get accused of being too sort of abstract, but supernova are one of the best examples. So right now we have a unified theory of matter in the universe. When we think of like actual physical stuff, we know what a sun makes up and we know what happens when it explodes. This is a great example because as we see matter and energy go through not just a phase change, but also a chemistry change, the atomic structure totally transforms. You get different percentages of silver, tin, heavy elements, different gases. You get a million solar masses of oxygen anytime a star explodes. And what this was before was really like, it was atoms, it sort of was gas, but it's also in such a particular state of that even, right? And so when you're talking about uniformity in nature, this is something that like the domain of astrophysics studies. Astrophysics sort of lifts this up and asks us to consider it. And so to me, that satisfies that condition, at least intuitively.
Duck, everything you just described is physical. I asked you about the conceptual, non-physical pre-commitments that make sense of those observations you're talking about. I don't know what you were just reading, but that's not at all. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe your camera's off.
Yeah, it is. Can you see me?
Okay.
I wasn't reading.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It looked like you were reading.
Tin, supernova.
Yes.
Heavy elements.
You're right. All of those things are physical.
Yeah.
I'm asking you about the non-physical, conceptual, immaterial pre-commitments. So the uniformity in nature is a pre-commitment that you bring to science so that science works. As a Christian, I believe in the uniformity in nature because I believe that Jesus Christ is upholding the world by his powerful word. That's what Hebrews 1:3 tells me. You don't believe in Jesus upholding the world anymore, or if you ever did, you now have to replace that belief with something that's holding the universe together and making sense of and grounding this, all these wonderful observations that you want to make. Without that, it's a little bit, to use a cartoon example, you're sort of in the situation of Wile E. Coyote chasing after the roadrunner,
Yeah.
you've zipped off the cliff and you don't realize yet that there's nothing below your feet.
No, because okay,
there's
let me
only one way
respond
to
to
go.
this. Let me respond to this because our time's up. I would just say that, if you're looking for a grand theory to answer everything, there's people that study complexity in computational models, but it's very disingenuous and bad faith to hold someone to what is really an esoteric and very burgeoning topic when we have foundational knowledge that's building it up. And so if you say that, in the same way I can't study economics, I can't study cosmology. If you believe those things, then I would call you a backwater, like trailer park piece of trash, right? That's not good faith argumentation.
Yeah, that's not what I'm doing in any way, shape, or form. I'm
It is
showing
exactly
you
what you're doing.
Well, it's literally not even
exactly
remotely close to what I'm doing. So chill out for a second, because what I'm showing you is that you do not have a metaphysical grounding for the principles that you need to support your scientific endeavor. I'm not calling you backwater or anything like that. Okay.
I say this backwater. I called you a backwater trailer park piece of trash.
Okay. So that's not how you engage with people on this channel. Okay. And you need to change. I can tell you're getting fired up, and it's okay to get fired up.
I'm not getting fired up.
Then you're just insulting people randomly and arbitrarily, which
that wasn't
respectfully,
random or arbitrary.
That is your worldview.
It wasn't random or arbitrary.
You don't have any grounding for these pre-commitments that you make, and your defense of that didn't address it in any way, shape, or form. Now, we did get a few super chats, I think, from Jim Bob. Jim Bob is here, and I want to make sure that because he sent some super chats in, which, by the way, Alex, can you actually, since you're watching the chat, I'm watching it scale by. Yeah. So let's make sure that he gets his questions asked.
$5 from the treasury of Jorlandia. Duck, what's wrong with brainwashing? Yes, thank you, Jim Bob.
If it's happening in jorts, then nothing's wrong with brainwashing. But if you're acting mean and saying mean things to people or groups, then brainwashing is very, very bad, Jim Bob. Very bad.
By what standard?
By the standard of a super chat that I don't that I like Jim Bob, and I don't like the mean things people say on the internet.
Okay.
Dislike it.
So no standard outside of yourself. Okay.
I mean, you kind of said a mean thing just now on the internet, right?
I did. Hey, if he's gonna ask me a question and not even attempt to
I was talking about Joel.
Oh.
I said something mean?
No, Duck said something mean to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the first one.
D. George,
no,
Nick Mercer's
inconsistent.
Nick Mercer wants the jorts off.
Another $5 from me by Jim Bob.
Thank
Duck,
you, Jim
how
Bob.
is physicalism powerful if it makes epistemology impossible?
So I believe I explained that we can at least base things on these very foundational theories that rest on very foundational and small phenomenal spaces. And so when I take that and I take it to apply to the human endeavor of knowledge and what one individual can actually go out and do, what sort of knowledge and conversations that generates, that seems like the most powerful form of epistemology that the human species has known. That the human
theories
species
physical?
has ever known. Theories are. I don't know. If we're having a good faith conversation, I don't understand.
I have. Okay.
What I don't know what that means. That wasn't English.
That's ironically the next super chat. So I'll just bring it up while you
talk. Perfect. Thanks, Jim Bob. I didn't see that.
How much does a theory weigh? I don't know. It probably costs a lot more than it weighs. That's what I would say. My own personal belief.
Are theories physical or no?
I don't, like I said, I don't understand if that question is coherent. Like if you're signifying a theory in that and signifying a physical thing, like a class of physical things, I don't understand the question.
That's respectfully, that's because theories are not physical. Theories are conceptual and concepts are immaterial. And so if your physicalist worldview and metaphysics rests on an immaterial foundation, you're no longer a physicalist at that point.
So that's linguistic, is like the simple, like we could have probably a
metaphysics.
We could have a 20-year conversation about that, but that's talking
unless
about
you change your opinion, you'd be wrong the entire time for all 20 years. And your position would continue to be ungrounded.
Yeah, that's
and self-referentially incoherent.
That's if you want to keep saying mean things, then keep saying mean things.
Yeah, okay. Duck, I think we're out of time, man, but
okay. It was fun.
Clearly, something is hitting
Good
a
to meet.
nerve tonight, and I don't know what it is. But listen, man, I mean this when I say this. God bless you. I'm glad you came up. I hope you have a change of heart.
Thank you, though.
And we'll maybe perhaps talk another time.
Maybe some other time. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one, Duck.